Hey, all you podcast listeners, you can find Slice of the Paranormal everywhere podcasts are found, or you can watch us on our YouTube channel.
Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to Slice the Paranormal.
Hey.
Hi. I'm sorry. What's up? I'm Ryan. This is my co-host Christy right here, and this is our lovely historian slash
geek,
resident geek,
Stephen Klinger.
Stephen Klinger! Yay! Remember when Kermit used to do that?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
When his arms are like waving all like crazy.
Exactly. So we're Slice of the Paranormal. We talk about paranormal stuff, old, weird stuff, sometimes old.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes old.
Sometimes aliens, sometimes Bigfoot,
Witches,
ghosts,
UFOs,
and goblins.
and today,
good old fashioned.
Goblins.
American,
Or actually, I should say goblin. It's just one.
just the one goblin.
Just one goblin. It's not like he's got a horde of them.
Oh, you don't know?
Maybe. I mean, you're right.
Maybe he found himself a nice little goblin girl. Wow, we'll get there.
He might. Maybe. We'll see.
And then at the end of
The story
each,
tells.
at the end of each weekly episode, we review pizza too.
Yep.
So
Yay.
look
Visit a
forward
local
to that.
pizza place, and this
The
place
end of
was
the
cool.
episode.
Oh,
It was very
I've been
cool.
excited to visit this place, and I'm now excited to talk about visiting this place. So
We can tempt it a little bit. It was a horror themed place, but we'll tell you a little bit more about it when it gets to the pizza part.
we will.
I bet the Cup of Code guys would like it there.
Oh,
that
Cup of
pizza
Code
shop.
would definitely like
Yeah.
it. Our sponsor.
Yeah, they'd
they're
like
they're
it.
like us. They're a bunch of cool guys.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Thank you.
But this episode, already said about a goblin, but I'm actually going to hold off.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you about the goblin right
Sneaky.
away. You know?
I'm already intrigued just by the word goblin.
Yeah.
I know. That's
To be
why,
honest.
That's why I have to hold your
Yeah.
attention
Yeah.
and force you to, wait.
Trudge through the other stuff.
Trudge
It's
through
the
the other
carrot
stuff.
in this situation.
So
Yeah.
the reason we got to trudge through other stuff is the story is about the Easton Goblin.
Easton Goblin.
Usually when
Easton, Pennsylvania.
in Easton, Pennsylvania, Northampton County, and usually when I say we're gonna check out this ghost site or whatnot, there's an actual site to check.
Right.
So when I'm looking up the Easton Goblin, I'm like, okay, where did this monk, go to church? Where's the church at? There is no church that I can find that's directly associated with this guy.
What do you mean?
Well, he's supposedly a monk. So I'm like doing internet searches. Like, is there a monastery where there's monks in Easton? And I can't.
And Easton, PA, for everybody is near Erie, correct? In that part of the county?
No, it's north of
It was closer to New
Philadelphia.
Jersey, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting the two trips confused.
It's in the Lehigh
Yeah,
Valley.
okay, that's right.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? We need some places to get shots because I can't just be like talking about something and not
Pictures,
have a trip
not
because
drinks.
we need to have pizza.
Yeah.
So,
Could be both.
and it had to be Easton. So I'm like, let's go to the Easton Cemetery.
Of course, because when
Easton-
we go to places, typically,
Typically,
we're heading to
Cemeteries.
cemeteries.
I'm always like, you know who's buried here? You know who's buried here?
So Easton Cemetery.
So Easton Cemetery, for those that don't know, is at 401 North 7th Street, Easton, Pennsylvania. And I do have two pictures actually. The first one is of the house that
I'm
you'll
just
see.
showing the opening of the cemetery.
Oh,
right now.
you're showing the opening.
Like that
Well,
big-
the gateway to the cemetery is just amazing looking. It's a gothic looking. It's got the archways, and I thought, well, that's a good backdrop for the goblin.
We drove right through that, right?
Yeah,
That literally is the entrance.
Yeah.
So we drove through that, and when I was researching, I was like, well, that's a pretty site. Well, we use that for the Easton Goblin. And then I was like, well, let me look up the cemetery. And lo and behold, this is one of the few cemeteries that have haunted lore.
Yes.
Most cemeteries
Yeah.
don't have a lot of haunted lore. They're usually pretty freaking peaceful.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you got 9,000 graves and only one ghost, that's still not even a percentage,
Yeah.
of like death versus became
Yeah,
a
we
ghost.
talked about that before. Like, why would you want to come back and haunt your grave? Like, I'd rather go visit the living or my old home.
Yeah,
or
like
something
if
where
I
I
wanna haunt
felt
somebody,
good when I was alive.
I want to haunt ex-girlfriends, maybe my
Do some
gym
damage.
teacher.
Yeah.
I want to mentally scar people if I can. That'd be
that's
my
a
goal.
good
Might be like
question
a
to ask
sign-up
people.
list
Yeah.
to get in line or something. It's like a lottery.
Yeah, like the movies where they show the serial killer and he's like crossing off people off a list.
Yeah.
That'd be the ghost I'd want to be.
Yeah.
Crossing people off. Like,
Fair enough.
I
Yeah,
got
that's,
that guy.
I like that.
You said about the opening of the cemetery. Then you also have.
The house.
Yeah,
which I think is connected to the ghost.
So it's right before the cemetery.
It's right before the cemetery. If you're looking at those gates that we just showed you, there's this beautiful stone house off to the right-hand side. And that we'll get to why I wanted you to just see the house. So this cemetery is initiated in 1849 by Dr. Trail Green, and the cemetery contains 29,000 graves. So we actually came here to take photos for the Easton Goblin episode, and the lore was just too good to pass up. The first burial was dug on All Saints' Day, November 1st, 1849.
Old cemetery.
So old. And it was built as a garden cemetery. Do you know what that is? It's like back when they called them garden cemeteries, it's when people actually went there as social events. So you would be like, hon, I'd like to go on a picnic.
What?
And you would literally grab your picnic supplies and go to the graveyard and have a picnic with your loved one. And there wouldn't be just one or two. There'd be dozens of other people.
It was like a thing to do.
Yeah.
And since there was all this beautiful grass.
It was a beautiful place and a
Come on,
quiet
there's got to be
reflection.
beautiful grass everywhere in the 1800s, right?
Yeah. But like spiritualism kind of got its roots
you have
going
to
at that
think,
time
1840s,
too.
1850s to the early 1900s. Spiritualism is really popular.
So you think they're doing it because of that?
I think it's more socially acceptable, and like people are trying to make contact with their loved ones.
And I think the time frame, the Victorian period, is very much, there's a lot of customs around mourning and all that, and people weren't so disassociated from death.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, think about it. If your uncle died, you had him in your freaking living room
A lot of times,
for a couple days, hanging out with your dead relative.
Different time period.
We don't deal with that. We go in, we see them for an hour, and we're out.
Well, and that comes basically because of like making sure they're really dead. Like that's the whole term for like awake.
Now we're like,
to make sure they're
thank
really
God
dead.
Grandpa's gone. Let's get rid of him. But anyway, so I did say that that this has some haunted lore to it. It's said to be haunted by a lady in white.
Lady in white.
And when I hear that, it makes the podcast team, we all perk up a little bit. So there's a lady in white, but there's also, and this is a sad thing, I hate to report these things when you find out, but there was a tragic murder of a 13-year-old girl there in 1996, and she was tortured and killed over a drug deal, and her body was placed in an old storage vault.
Wow, that's recent.
Like, that is very recent. So, like, if there is new ghost lore, it could very well be attached to that.
Man.
But the woman in white is an older woman, and so she is not the woman in white.
Do you remember that movie, The Woman in White?
The woman in white?
With Lucas Hawes and the grandmother Mona from the show with Tony Danza.
Oh, who's the boss?
Yeah, who's the boss? And the grandma Mona.
Yeah,
she
Mona.
was like the
I remember
lady
that
in
show.
white, and Lucas Hawes was a little boy who got
there's something
stuck in a cloak closet overnight, and would see the ghost of a child abuser come in and like murder this little girl, and his ghost would like carry her body away. Yeah, it was a really scary
Wow.
movie I saw when I was little.
Man,
It
you
was-
said who's the boss, and I'm instantly like salivating over Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, because it's Mona at the end of it. It's Mona in the in her dress, in the white dress on the
something's
cliffs.
triggered up there.
Yeah, it takes place around Halloween time. It's a very creepy movie.
I feel like I've seen
I'm
something.
pretty sure it's called The Lady in White.
And Alyssa Milano, if you listen to our podcast.
Again with the Alyssa Milano.
Ryan and I would love to have you on.
Yep.
Just because of Who's the Boss. And the
Keep dreaming, dude.
13-year-old versions of us love her.
Hey, and honestly, we come on your podcast. I think you have a podcast. Maybe?
Yeah.
Probably.
Come on.
You guys just said come way too many times.
All right.
All right, we're moving on.
We'll move on. So the question is, who is the lady in white? I obviously said it's not the 13-year-old girl.
Mona.
It's a girl named Mammy, they think.
Catherine Hellmond. Sorry, I just remembered her real name. It's Catherine Hellmond.
Nice job. Nice job.
No, it's not. It's Elizabeth Bell Morgan.
No,
That's who Mammy is.
I mean, the lady in white from the movie.
Oh, you're digressing.
Yeah. No, I'm digesting.
You're digesting. Yeah, we did have pizza just a little bit ago.
I know. I'm still digesting that.
Okay, so this Elizabeth Bell Morgan is who Morgan Hill is named after. And
what's Morgan Hill?
I think it's where the cemetery is.
Oh, okay.
Her husband died from yellow fever in Philadelphia.
Not the consumption. Yes.
Not consumption. Yellow fever.
We should have like a little tracker.
Yeah, consumption counter.
Died of consumption.
How many times?
Or other.
How many times? So TB or other. There's only two ways to die in the 1800s.
TB, other.
Sorry.
We can turn it into a drinking game. If they die from consumption, we take a sip.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or
other, it's a shot.
Other, it's
He's
a
going
shot.
to be researching only consumption deaths
Yeah.
across the country.
Yeah, well, we'll make it popular for all our podcast listeners. How many times do they say tuberculosis? So, okay, so her husband dies of yellow fever. Remember when we were down in Philadelphia, I kept saying all the parks essentially became like holding grounds for there were so many deaths of yellow fever in the 1790s.
Oh, yeah.
They were all like graves, mass graves.
Washington Park is literally a mass grave of thousands.
Did you say that you were actually keeping your eye out for bone fragments as we were walking through the park?
Nice call, Christy.
Thanks for publicly admitting that for me. Yes, I do that. I also did that in Connecticut. Anywhere I go, that I have heard that there's humans that have been buried unceremoniously, I'll keep my eyes peeled.
You never know.
Yeah, because
public domain, right? At that point.
Listen, if it's on the surface of the ground, I'll be like, it's probably a squirrel. I can turn that into a necklace. So, it's just something I do, Come on.
There's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with me.
No. Say it again. Maybe you'll believe it this time.
You're like, yeah, if you keep repeating it like a mantra, like maybe.
There's nothing wrong with me. There isn't. There's nothing wrong with me.
No, I'm completely fine. So like,
hey, you guys, I'm tearing up.
Who this girl is? She opened up a public house hotel on the hill. This Mammy. And if driving around Northampton wasn't such a freaking nightmare, because remember all that traffic.
It's like, well, not just traffic, but the streets were kind of small. Everything's on hills.
There's diagonals going everywhere.
They're telling you, it was a little.
I almost made you go to the Northampton County Historical Society because her clock is preserved in the Historical Society. We could have gone and seen the ghost clock.
Yeah.
Which would have been cool, but we didn't. I took you to the Easton Library, which error number 1, we will call this. And the reason we go to the Easton Library is, like a lot of things, the Easton Library got funding for it from the Carnegie family.
Oh,
yeah.
They're big known for, donating
kind of stuff.
money for libraries and education.
Yep.
Well, so the town of Easton had to supply the land. So when they were figuring out where to supply the land, they're like, hey, we got this cemetery that's not being taken care of. Why don't we move all these bodies, the ones we can find.
Right, most of the bodies.
And we'll donate that land for the Easton Library. And they did.
Up on the hill. Except
for Elizabeth Bell Elizabeth Bell Morgan, a.k.a. Mammy, her body's still there. And her grave is still on the site of the cemetery. Of the library.
Of the library.
She was born in 1761 in Philadelphia. She dies October 16th in 1839. She's like 77, 78 years old.
So she's like right in the prime of like Revolution America, you know, the beginning, the birth of America.
She like when we think of founding fathers today, back then, it wasn't like today where you have to go through all these checks and balances to get to see the president.
Yeah.
Up until Lincoln, it was an open door policy.
Apparently.
You could have like knocked on George Washington's house when he was president and seen him.
You're like, yeah, bro.
You could have even like snuck up on Abraham Lincoln, like right behind him and stuff.
Right.
There was so much politeness in society, though. It was a lot safer back then.
Ungentlemanly.
Yeah,
do such.
You wouldn't want to come in unannounced. You know, you wouldn't want to impose.
Right.
So it was a little bit easier, you know, back then. But even all the way up to Lincoln, you could, if you wanted to see Lincoln, you could go to the White House, just walk in. So this girl's right there in Philadelphia. She'd be seeing all the founding fathers walking around.
On her grave, it says, died, doesn't say when she was born. It says, died October 16th, what did you say,
39.
Aged about, it says 79 years, I think.
Are you showing the gravestone?
Yeah.
They think that it's an old Native American grinding stone, that her grave is actually, her gravestone is.
That's cool.
So, and you can find that outside the Easton Library. Now, why I said it was a mistake to go there. When we go there, we're hearing like sirens and shit.
This is so weird,
Cones
man.
out.
Cones.
Firemen.
Okay, but to be fair, there was also a lot of road work in the town.
There was.
Cones everywhere.
So we're using our GPS, you know, locations, and things are changing as we make wrong turns because of road work and
Road
whatnot.
closed. Okay,
yeah,
turn
one
right.
ways.
Can't go that
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So like,
Oh, you
we're
can't go down that
following.
road.
So by the end of this, we're like, okay, we're gonna follow it as much as we can, but like, we're also gonna look at what other traffic is doing and like use our brains
Right.
to navigate.
You go driving.
Right. So we get up to the library and there's like cones.
We didn't really realize it was the library.
We didn't.
It's a massive building.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So basically, we're like, should we? I think there's actually a fire truck parked right there, isn't there?
Right
We
there.
went around
Right
a fire
there.
truck.
We went around a fire truck.
the fire
They
truck.
waved us on.
They're like, yeah, come on through. Come on through. So we go on through to the parking lot. We park. And we're like looking around. And
There's like
what's
people.
weird? Yeah, what's weird? We're like,
Everybody's standing out in the grass. Everybody.
Everyone is outside the library. People are coming out.
People are mad.
And they're mad.
Dude,
They're-
that guy was so mad.
yeah, there was
He
people
was
like
He was just waiting. Are you gonna talk to me? Because I need to swear at someone.
yeah. So we get out of the car and we like stand, walk around to try and figure out what's going on. And the angry guy told us he could not leave, and he basically
We were stuck there.
Yeah, we were stuck there. Now that they waved us
Was
in,
it a bomb threat? Maybe.
Was it a bomb threat or a
Something.
poison?
we don't know. The guy said he didn't know if someone pulled the fire alarm or what.
Yeah, it's very vague.
But the firemen weren't offering any advice other than
Zero.
you're stuck.
But everyone was evacuated.
Cup of Code! Today's episode is brought to you by Cup O Code. Need a website or marketing solution that works as hard as you do? At Cup of Code, they don't just build websites. They create digital solutions that grow your business. From expert web design to targeted marketing, including Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, and billboards, they've got you covered. Dream, design, develop. Visit cupofcode.com and take your business to the next level.
From the library.
So while the building is maybe at threat of burning up or blowing up,
Chemical exposure. We don't know. At
we
this
walk
point.
around and get pictures of this of
Damn
the
right.
site. So and no one stops us. So
No, taking pictures of everything.
we're like taking pictures of everything. They're like, maybe they're here from the news. I don't know. But the library is interesting because it has its own ghost lore, and Mammy's buried there. Like when they were, digging up there, they found 415 graves, and most of the bodies were moved to the cemetery I did take you to.
Yeah.
30 of them were left unclaimed. So when we were leaving that library, we were driving over the vault that contains the 30 graves. Oh. So there's ghost lore of the library itself, and a lot of people claim that it's the bodies that weren't claimed that are still interred on the site that are now haunting the library. So I mentioned Elizabeth Bell Morgan.
Yeah.
But there's also a guy named William Parsons who's buried on the library grounds, and he still has his marker, unlike the other 30 in a vault.
Oh, okay.
And
where were these graves compared to where we were?
Oh, I have no idea. Like with all the firemen,
we couldn't really
like a grave.
I didn't either, but like also there was a lot of like trees and like nice little areas where I could see a little. Like a little area we put. Yeah.
Yeah, so like what we were going to do was we were going to go into the library
and
talk to people, stir up ghosts.
Kick up some orbs.
And ask them where the hot spots were.
Go full nacho on this bitch.
We were totally kiboshed on the library journey. Which when you plan these trips, you can't plan for idiots out in the wild.
That's right.
What is some of the lore in the library? Like, what have people seen or heard in there?
So, there's the underground vault on the property. Cue poltergeist music. Cabinet doors swing open. Unseen hands run their fingers through people's hair.
Ooh.
So people have felt touched.
That's a little gross.
The ghost of Mammy Morgan, the lady in white, who haunts the Easton Cemetery, also haunts
AKA Catherine Hellman.
Because she's buried there.
And they do say that the vault, is a depression on the northeast part of the driveway that exists at the library. So either way, we drove on it.
Or right past it.
Now, Andrew Carnegie gave $50,000 for that library, and that's why they provided that land. Now, William Parsons, the other guy that we know his name, who's buried on that land, was a surveyor, and he laid out the town of Easton. So the whole time
that guy.
Yeah, so the whole time we're bitching about Easton and how horrible it's laid out, he's buried at the library. We could have...
That's why he didn't let us in.
We could have spit on his grave if we had
That's why he didn't let us in. He's like, I'm not letting these people.
So maybe.
He played a trick on us, a little curse.
No, if we would have
basically trapped us in there, though, really.
We were trapped there.
Trapped by a ghost.
Now,
it was like we were let in, like one of those like pitcher plants, like we were let in. Come on in, guys. We were waved in. Now you can't leave.
Now, the hot spot of the library, supposedly...
that would keep you...
Is the second floor. The second floor is the hot spot. If we could have gotten in, that's where doors are said to open and shut on their own.
Okay.
Cabinets move on their own. There's phantom lights seen in areas near the graves.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things. And some of the sources I used was like Ghost of the Lehigh Valley by Charles J. Adams III and David Siebold. And then Bethlehem Ghost by Catherine Ramsland and Dana DeVito.
Ramsland.
And Dana DeVito in 2017.
Dana DeVito.
Okay.
Yeah, Dana DeVito.
No relation.
Hey, so has it ever been officially ghost hunted? That library?
I'm not sure. I haven't read of anyone ghost hunting it. I'm sure tons of ghost hunters have gone in there and done impromptu investigations.
Right, it's open to the public.
Yeah.
It's open to the public, so obviously it's a library.
But maybe if we would like reach out to their like visitors bureau, we could arrange something. That might be neat.
I'm sure we could. In fact, I always say, if you want to do ghost hunting, you do it the proper way. You reach out to the people that own the sites. You try to
go
do
through
something.
the proper
Go through the process.
Unseen hands right through their hair.
A lot of times, that
you can get fingered at the library.
Free advertisement for them. Yeah, get stroked at the library.
Your local
would
library.
Be a great tagline for that.
Over the weekend, let's tell Ryan about the slogan we came up with.
We
eat out often.
Oh yeah, we were
For
thinking
underwear?
of t-shirts.
No, it was
like it.
underwear.
Underwear.
Yeah,
I
we
think
eat
we should
out
have
often.
panties that say "We eat out often," and
Slice of the paranormal.
a slice
or
of pizza
also
on a pair of
logo.
panties.
Eat my slice.
That
Branded.
says "Eat my slice."
I'm not. I'm not mad
Ryan,
about
we
it.
were going there. We were
I like
with
it.
each other a lot this weekend. So
Listen,
we had some
Eat my
ideas
slice? Eat a
flowing.
slice?
Eat my slice.
Eat my slice and sell it as a
It's
pair of
very
panties.
aggressive. Eat my slice.
Right.
I'm down.
And
I'm
we
in.
eat out
on.
often.
I'm gonna make them. It's gonna
I'm
happen.
just saying,
Look
like-
on our website for these brand new products, and save 10% with code. I'm just kidding.
With the
Code Eat My Slice.
Eat my slice. Exactly. Listen, I'm telling you, this is an award-winning idea. People that don't even watch our podcast would be rocking
gonna want
Eat My
these underwear.
Slice underwear. It's going to fly off the
Yep.
shelves.
Yep.
We're going to be secondary to our underwear.
That's the whole goal,
That's
right?
kind of
Isn't
like-
that the goal we set out for?
That's yeah.
In like 10 months, people
for
will be like,
underwear to be our actual
they'll be like,
product.
you're the underwear people.
Yeah.
And I'm going to blame Patty Negri from the
the
Good Witch for the
inspiration.
inspiration she has.
Oh.
I was hanging out with her down in Penhurst, and she's known as the Good Witch. She's been on the Ghost Adventures TV
Right.
show with Zach Baggins and all that.
Yeah.
And she's had her pictures, and I'm just there to like hold the camera for people to get pictures with her.
Oh, okay.
And get her water and make sure the celebrities are happy.
Wow.
At the event. And, you know, she's sitting next to the Ghost Brothers on one side, and, you know, I had to move Jason Hawes earlier in the event.
Okay.
But the important part is the panties.
Yeah.
She
Let's
had
get
these
back to the-
panties.
Back to the panties.
Back to the panties. She was selling power panties. Patty's power panties, I think they were called.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
And
were
they had
so
words like
nice.
protection.
Yeah.
And she,
Oh.
they are literally to be worn as a spiritual defense. And she said, you wouldn't believe how many famous people buy these and use them for like protection
Wow.
or love. They're like spell panties.
Spell panties.
Now, our panties will not get you any like magical hoodoo.
Yeah, we're not cursing
But it
them
might
or
get you
blessing
lucky.
them.
You know,
We're not releasing smell panties.
no.
Ew.
But if a girl's wearing "Eat My Slice" panties, you know you're gonna have a good
She's
night.
DT.
All
Yep.
right.
She's not gonna
Almost said it. I'm not gonna.
turn you down that
All right,
night.
Steve, I can tell you're very excited about this. I'm going to let you spearhead this movement.
Okay,
and,
I'll spearhead this. But we have to get off the panty topic because the whole weekend.
He's like, oh, we have to
we
get off
have
of
to.
that now.
You guys stop talking about all the panties.
Patty was talking. The wind's blowing. The panties are flying constantly. I had to pick up panties and reorganize the panties all weekend.
And they were right on
And
my
they're like-
face, and I hated it.
They were like joking that they're gonna call my wife and tell them
take
that
pictures of you.
I was playing with women's panties all weekend long, and they wouldn't have been lying.
So you told on yourself.
So I'm gonna blame Patty for this whole panties digression.
Thank you, the good witch.
She great person. Check
She
out.
was so super sweet. Yeah.
In fact,
so
people
pretty,
usually have
too.
nightmares about like working with celebrities, and I can honestly say the celebrities that I
Yeah.
worked with, especially Patty,
Yeah.
were not hard at all. Like,
Yeah.
she didn't make me do crap.
Nice.
Yeah,
She took care of
she
you.
seemed
All my
like a
friends that
real
saw me, they're like,
person.
what are you actually doing?"
Yeah.
People thought I was important. I had to
Yeah.
keep reminding people, "Oh, I'm not important.
No, she's the important one.
I don't know anything."
Yeah.
You know, they'd come up to me, ask me like, I know where something is. So back to the topic.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go to Easton not for the library,
Not for the
not for the cemetery. We went there for the Easton Goblin Monk.
For the goblin.
So the Goblin of Easton is a dark urban legend from Easton, Pennsylvania, and it's that one of the monks was super greedy. So what would happen is people would come to the church and they'd give their confessions to this monk. And
There's that church right in the middle, right?
well, there's no actual physical church, but I did find a church I think would work as a backdrop.
Okay.
he would hear the confessions of people, and the wealthy people, he would then use that knowledge to blackmail them to get more money from them.
Does it happen a lot?
I'm wondering. But I wouldn't think so. I mean, I think
Not a lot,
what makes the story extra upsetting is that, like, when you think of a preacher, you think of someone that's a protector, someone that's safe in your community. To be used or abused by someone of power like that is extra egregious. You know, it makes it worse. It's like
like a law enforcement or anything like that.
Yeah,
like anybody who you think is safe.
I had a friend who went to go see Santa Claus in Sunbury one time, and the Santa Claus wasn't there, and he's waiting, and he had to use the bathroom. Back then, they had a public bathroom. So he went to the public bathroom. His mom takes him in there, and he goes into the bathroom to use the bathroom, and Santa is laying there drunk in the public bathroom. And, like, he was mortified for the rest of his life because someone of power like Santa shouldn't be drunk.
Wow, that's just like Bad Santa, the movie. It's
bad.
Like with Billy Bob.
But I had a friend who lived that.
Yeah.
That really happened. So his whole life he hated Santa.
Yeah, because of that.
So in Easton, there's people that probably really hated this priest because he's trying to extort money off them, you know, using their bad deeds against them. So this city of Easton has, like, you know, 30,000 residents now, but back then, you know, it was still like 1,700, so not as many.
Okay.
But the local monk, you know, he's you know, extorting people, and then one day he tries to blackmail one of the parishioners to give him money. In order to,
just what? One of his church members.
One of his church members, and he's trying to. They're paying for his silence and not exposing their sins.
They gotta pay a tithe to.
They gotta pay him
to keep their butts clean,
to keep their secret things that they've told him clean. And he threatens.
It's a racket.
Yeah.
So one day he threatens an old woman, and she refuses to pay the monk. The monk has, by this point, lost all rational thought because he's just enraged with anger that this woman would deny him the money. And he beats the old woman to death.
Okay.
So
what a dick!
Look, you want to pay the money?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna beat.
I'm just gonna beat you, old woman.
So, like, anger just overtakes this monk. He beats her to death. So he is quickly.
That takes a special someone.
We don't have
the monk's
you know, name? To beat an old lady.
No, it's just known as the Goblin Monk.
Okay.
Now, supposedly, he is caught rather quickly, and he is then executed for his crimes.
Okay.
So. End of story, right? But that's actually just the beginning. Here, the noose drops the monk into eternity, and
the what? The noose drops?
The noose drops him into eternity. You know, he dies. But after his neck is broke, his face and his body contorted into that of a goblin. So from that point, he leapt back to life, fled into the nearby woods, and the Goblin Monk would return to
How did he get out of the noose?
I guess as he was transforming into a goblin, he slipped loose of the noose.
Okay.
A little bit
this is an urban legend. They usually have lots of plot holes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You know, it's like Final Destination. Don't look in too deep, you know.
When you become a goblin, a lot of times your head is
work.
smaller for just a
How do you not know this?
I'm imagining, though, you probably might have horns or big ears or something.
Well,
right?
we do have a picture of what a goblin does look like, and that's
You put that up there?
I put that up there.
All right.
I put that up there.
But it all depends. Like, if you watched Harry Potter, goblins, their heads are a lot larger.
Yeah.
You know, I would think that it'd be hard to get off a noose.
Exactly.
Much larger. Body smaller, head's larger. Maybe he went up.
Or maybe...
body tiny.
Climbed out through the noose.
Body tiny or body jello and, like, through the noose.
Right. Just flipped upside down. Slipped out.
Maybe goblins are super strong. So maybe the noose is still around his neck and he just pulled the cord and broke off.
All right, this might be the most fun session we've ever had.
Or maybe they're like ethereal too. Like maybe they can just go right through the noose.
Oh, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All of these are very good options.
You're right.
The various
agree
ways a
with-
person
yes,
could turn into a
all of them.
goblin.
And if you have any other ideas, please let us know.
Obviously, these have all been very scientifically well thought through in the
Right.
past 30 seconds.
We will definitely discuss them.
But okay, so he flies and runs into the woods, right? And this guy then would return to the monastery to devour the other monks that were.
Well, he got hungry.
Yeah, but like he's upset
wouldn't
at an
you?
old lady first. Like I would think he'd want to devour the parishioners, but
You eat at home first.
I guess I don't know.
Eat at home. Yeah.
Maybe the
cupboards.
monks are the ones that caught him and hung him. I don't know.
Oh, that could be too.
I'm not sure why he's
Or
so
maybe
pissed.
he knew they would be extra delicious.
Oh, yeah.
You ever had monk meat? I don't think
Yeah,
so.
it would be
not.
blessed, It'd probably be.
Oh, nice one.
Holy meat?
Right.
I don't know.
Extra
Holy meat in the
tender.
1700s, I think, has a totally different connotation.
A little bit of the tuberculosis.
So now I guess he lives a twisted life driven by the dark forces of greed
As a goblin.
as a goblin.
In the woods.
In the woods.
Goblin monk.
So, like,
So urban legends, what? People are scared of him?
yeah, well, I mean, there's plenty of books written about. There was an article written by Beth Price Williams on February 11th, 2022 that I read. S.E. Schlosser from Spooky, Pennsylvania, published in
nice.
2020. She actually talks about the Easton Goblin. So, and the stories are very similar. There's not a lot of history to it. There's not like, this is the site to go to see the Easton Goblin, but for some reason, Easton has a goblin monk that eats other monks.
So what have people seen recently? Nobody's really seen anything. That's just
No,
the
it's
history.
just an urban legend,
Okay.
Like some people say they see something running into the woods, but
But there's
no one's
nothing
ever
documented at all, really, about
no
this.
in the historical record.
Yeah.
Like I have serious doubts that there's a goblin monk basis
And there's no.
for the lore.
Just a local
Just the local legend.
legend. That's cool, though. I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's why I had to tie it to
Stuff
things like
movies are made of.
I'm excited to see if anybody comments or messages us about this, because I'd like to see if it's bigger than just what we
Yeah, maybe
heard.
there was like newspaper articles and stuff that we don't know about. That,
Yeah, so if there's
maybe-
people in Easton that know
Yeah.
more or have personally experienced something, I would love for them to comment, because my books, like, I leave spaces for more knowledge.
New information.
Right.
As I get new information, if you offer something, I will gladly put your name into my book. I will write down exactly what you wrote. And that way, if you want us to ever talk about your experiences, it will be there only if you allow me to.
True
type
story.
deal.
Yeah.
In fact, like I offer that service to people. I had people this weekend show me ghost photos they got at Penhurst, and I was like, listen, if you're interested, here's my card. If you send me a copy of the picture,
Oh, that's awesome.
we will show you your ghost photo and attach your name to it.
For sure.
And when you took the picture, and give you some publicity on it, because I saw a full-bodied apparition shot someone got
Nice.
down at Penhurst. So
That's cool.
Do you
I
know
would-
what building that was in?
Penhurst.
I don't know. I think she was in the Quaker building. I think she told me.
Okay.
But
We went through that.
and, I mean, it was a full body shot. So obviously I wasn't there, so I can't, validate it or anything, because
Yeah.
there's so many people walking around Penhurst. I think there was like 10,000 people. They sold out
That's crazy.
of that event. So the day one, Saturday, was packed.
Yeah.
Face Monster!
This episode of Slice of the Paranormal is sponsored in part by Face Monster, creating apparel, accessories, and artwork influenced by 80s horror, 90s pop culture, punk music, and skateboarding since 2012.
Whether you have a craving for pizza or a disgust for politicians, Face Monster has unapologetic apparel that appeals to almost everyone. Physically located on the second floor of the Sunbury Station in Sunbury, Pennsylvania.
Or you can find Face Monster on Instagram at Face Monster. That's Face Monster with a 0 instead of an O. But Face Monster wants you to know that even though there's a 0 in their name, you're still number one for following them.
But, so The Easton Goblin, I mean, he's an interesting urban legend. I would love to find more information about him, but there's just scant information out there, and everything that I've said is out of the 10 sources I could find on like YouTube or Google.
Yeah, so
they're all citing the same story.
The legend really just comes out of his execution,
pretty
basically, saying that he turned into
a
the goblin and ran off into the woods. And then we already discussed all the different things it could be,
and becomes a cannibal. Like there's nothing.
True, cannibal Goblin Monk is even better.
Like I don't know why didn't he just like continue being a greedy monk, you know, and try to make money? Why did he have to switch to cannibalism all of a sudden?
The noose does crazy things to you.
I guess turning into a goblin, messes a person up, you know.
I don't think it's real.
Why did we make you go to Easton, though?
Well, we actually didn't go to Easton for the goblin. The goblin came about because we wanted to go to Easton for pizza.
That's right.
We needed to find...
Sometimes pizza is the destination.
Pizza was the destination this time, and the goblin was the reason we could validate going to Easton.
Because we had tried to go to this place before, correct?
We did, but the trip that we were going to attach this to was our Trenton trip. We were going to waylay to Easton to hit this pizza place up. They weren't open that day.
Exactly.
It happened.
So it was, it was definitely on our itinerary at one point.
It was on our bucket list.
Yeah.
Because it's a horror-themed pizza restaurant.
Yeah.
In Easton, PA called Nicolosi.
Yeah. This place was great.
So we got to say how it was when we rolled up.
Yeah, so we got a lot before.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
we roll up early.
It's our first place of the day.
Which is usually good news for that pizza store.
We got there at, I think, 10 of 11.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, it's not open.
Lights are out.
Lights are out. There's no one inside.
Yeah.
But we're like, it opens at 11. Should we stay or go somewhere else? We decide we're staying.
Yeah, no kidding.
We've been waiting for this.
Yep.
And it gets to 11 and...
Nothing.
No one's there.
Nothing.
At 11:05,
and we're thinking the ovens aren't even on yet. Like what? It's gonna take forever. We got a whole day ahead of us.
Yeah.
And then what time was it?
At 11:05, I called Nicolosi's Pizza, and there was no answer. So I was like, I was getting upset.
But Steve was definitely getting upset.
But we still made the decision. We're like, listen, this is the second time we've tried to come to this place. We're right here.
Let's give them a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
I even had a backup just in case.
Yep,
so what was it? Was it like 11:10 they came?
It was like 10 after, yeah.
Like 10 after, this car rolls up and two teenage girls get out of the car and go in the building.
And it was supposed to be open at 11 online and everything. So
right.
Set after 11.
So then my heart started melting a little bit.
Right there.
Yeah.
Because I thought, you know what? They're teenagers.
Yeah, we've all been
probably
there.
Partying. It was probably a rough night.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just dragging into work.
Yep.
So we still went.
It's not normally weirdos waiting for a pizza shop to open up.
Right. We are the weirdos in this
11 a.m. on a Sunday.
Recognize that.
Yes.
We've had people yell at us in the past,
It's too early for pizza.
Too early for pizza. What's wrong with you?
We're like, I know.
They're forcing me to do it.
But this place was really cool. So once we got in, and by the way, there was a guy back there working on dough and stuff when we got
but he's
in.
obviously not answering the phone.
He lives there.
Yeah.
His job ain't to answer the phones.
Shaving.
You can tell he was like the pizza guy.
All right.
We get in, and this place is awesome. I'm just going to show a bunch of pictures on it. Well, we'll put them all on social media as well. But this place was super cool. What were some of the things that you enjoyed? I mean, you walk in, and there's skeletons everywhere. It ranges from dollar store stuff to cool stuff. They had all kinds of stuff.
Horror
Handmade
movie,
stuff.
paraphernalia.
All horror.
Yeah, Lucille from Walking Dead, like a full-size replica, or it's really cool.
That was cool.
Along with a poster. A lot of movie posters. And a lot of dollar store stuff. But, hey, I'm not knocking dollar store decorations by any means. You can do a lot with dollar store decorations.
I'm trying to find the guy's name. I think it's Josh Whalen, maybe the guy from Fright Night.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's who it was.
Josh Whalen. He was in the movie Fright Night. He was the friend that gets bitten, and he turns into a vampire.
Okay, yeah.
He pushes the cross into his
There's
forehead.
the cross in his forehead, and there's a picture of that in there. Christy and I met him this weekend.
In this group of pictures, there's a picture of that?
There's a picture of him.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
We met the guy that's made of.
I put it up.
I put it up on that bitch.
Put it up on the screen.
Yeah, he was there at Penhurst.
You met that guy?
We did. He was right next to R.A. Mihailoff, who we talked about on the Pig People of Meadville episode.
Yeah.
So
there's tons of cool stuff at this place, though. I mean, I think one of the things we all kind of enjoyed were these bird houses. Where are those?
Oh, yeah. They had
the horror-themed bird houses.
Halloween-themed one, which I took pictures of.
There's one for...
there was like one for...
The clown must be it.
Yep.
And then I can't quite tell.
Was there a
top
nightmare
one. No, it looks like...
There's definitely Halloween.
Jason and Mike Myers. That's who the other one was, Friday the 13th.
Yeah. But these birdhouses totally decked out and just horror decorations all over the place. It was really
I was
neat.
honestly hoping they were selling them, but obviously they were one of a kind, crafted by one person.
Somebody made those, yeah.
It'd be a great place to go on a date, like in October. You know what I mean? Like just if you wanted to go.
Are you dating weirdos like us?
No, I'm just saying, like if you were into Halloween and you wanted to be like, go pizza in a movie, go
and
there
not to mention, didn't they have like those? They had those bread skull things.
Skull knots, right?
Skull knots, yeah.
Garlic skull knots.
Yeah,
we ordered them.
I changed my order and confused her.
And confused her, but that's okay.
We were gonna try them, but we didn't.
But she was very nice.
And we were like, oh, well, because we still got to eat a lot of pizza. So maybe it's better.
So again, first pizza place of the day.
First pizza place.
We're loving the vibe in here, though. I mean, the skulls, chains
so much
hanging.
to look at.
Let's get to the reviews. Let's see what we said about this pizza. Horror themed. In the elbow of a shopping plaza, first spot of the day, we waited in the car. Oh, yeah, I always talked about that. Very friendly staff when we went in. Samira was our waitress. Steven, 3.75 out of 5.
Nice.
Standard good pizza.
I'll stick by that. I like the place. I like the pizza.
Nice thin crust. Char is perfect. Only complaints were them being 10 minutes late to open. Would you have changed their score if they were open that 10 minutes early? You get a 3.75.
I would give them a 0.25 boost.
Oh, look at that.
They did get a demerit on that, but...
upon reflection,
yes, I would give them. I would raise it by 0.25.
You'd give them that if we're taking
because I'm no longer upset about that
pizza.
Right.
You're no longer hangry.
I'm no longer hangry, but I was hangry then, and we did not. I forgot Snickers that day.
Yeah,
I usually carry Snickers.
Thank you for clarifying.
Because we randomly gets pizza overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And we need just a different
flavor fatigue is real.
Yeah, big time.
Real.
I don't know.
Everyone's like, oh, you guys
yeah, you don't know about it, Ryan. You're so lucky. I don't know how you do it.
I eat that pizza. Christy.
Yeah, what'd I give it?
3.25. 3.25
yeah,
out of 5.
That's not terrible.
Not for you.
Yeah.
3.25 is a good score.
Yeah.
I think I prefer the plain slice better because you could taste the sauce better. Okay. Pepperoni wasn't bad. Sauce had a slight sweetness to it, which came through on the plain slice. So the pepperoni kind of changed the flavor
absolutely.
of that. I also do like the very thin crust. Even the pizza bone was thin.
Oh, yeah. There was cheese all the way up to the edge, which is good.
Crust.
Yeah, so maybe I should up that score a little bit too. Maybe I was a little bit.
Seems like a nice review.
Yeah.
I think we're all salty.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is 3.25 is probably an accurate score.
You're right. Because I am pretty critical of pizza.
Yeah. On there. And look at me. I gave it a 3.75. So, same as Steve. A 3.75 out of 5. I like the crust and sauce. Cheese was a nice flavor. Overall, good piece of pizza in a place where you can look at all kinds of horror-themed stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome. I loved everything about it. All the posters.
Yeah, the whole time you're eating, you're just literally looking around the place. It was cool.
Yeah, it's like a museum of horror.
You gonna haunt it?
I definitely haunt it.
You gonna go back?
For sure.
I would go back if I was in Easton.
I'll go back. I want to try the skulls.
I would haunt that place.
Definitely.
Yeah, good pizza.
All right.
Good job, Nicolosi's Pizza. Also, very cool place, man. Very cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It's
You
like
might
almost like
wanna
a
talk
test.
to the girls.
Make sure they're
Oh,
open.
I called her out by name too.
Oh, I forgot that. That's rough, man.
Dang. I meant they were totally there on time.
Oh, and we didn't have to wait long.
No,
by the
they
way,
were-
we
yeah,
did.
Actually, yeah, the pizza was in and
Yeah.
out real quick.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Everybody was very nice to us. I think
Yep.
we were just hangry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't be mad at us because we were hungry. We didn't mean it.
But is that it for Easton?
That is it for Easton.
Easton was a fun day. Or
Yeah.
a fun start to our day.
Yeah, because that was wasn't that the New Jersey trip?
It was one of them, yeah.
I think we
First
went all
leg
the way
of-
to Atlantic City that day.
We ended up in Atlantic City that night. That is a true story. Very cool. Well, if there's nothing else, please like, subscribe, and hit us up on social media. Comment on things you like and don't like. Tell Steve he sounds really cute, or whatever you want to tell him.
or you want him to do the whole episode in falsetto?
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, maybe Steve needs to try something new. Let him know. Anyway,
Maybe I should do an episode with a complete lisp.
let's not do that.
Or you could just join us next time you crave a slice of the paranormal.
Fine.
guys wanna
No
talk?
lisp.
This podcast was produced by Stone State Entertainment.